Okay.
Senior content. Get ready.
Okay.
You're alive. Okay, so now. Okay, so now. There's the URL. Okay, we're live. What's the? Let me go there and I'll find it. Okay, it should be streaming live now. This is the first time I've ever done this, so I don't know how that works. Oh, here it is. Here's the share.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Facebook. You already signed into Facebook.
No, I'm not. Yep.
Can I email it? Can you email it to?
Or
Marky?
I can text it. Or text it. Yeah.
Okay, now I gotta set up lights. Alright, Carol, I need help now, buddy.
Is it set up?
Yeah, the stream is good. It's now.
And is it still the original link that we have?
No, it's a different one. Yeah.
So we need to go into.
Yeah, I already gave it to Marky. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
now.
awesome.
And I gave it to you as well.
Okay, thank you. I mean, our next one's not till 12:30 anyways, and what's also nice is these will be recorded.
Okay.
So then we'll be putting.
Yeah, it looks like people are just kind of walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not really going up.
This is still the beginning of the opening,
Yeah.
so 10:30.
Again?
Again?
Again.
I need to go
outside. Yep.
listen to the stream.
I sent you a text of the stream.
Send it to,
Marky and yep, she knows. Yep.
Is that fun here?
Hello. All right. Hi, I'm Marcia Cripps. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm with Plant Foundation, and we're going to be doing a little bit of detective work through the baloney detection case. As you know, there's a lot of baloney out there, well, lots of information, and sometimes the problem is trying to decipher what's fact versus fiction. And today, with the baloney detection case, I'm going to show you how you can use your very own baloney detection kit to decipher what's fact and what's fake, or what's just pure baloney. Is it working? Hello? Is it working? Are you able to hear everything?
You sound good. I mean, there is a little bit of like a
Click, but it's not too bad. Yeah.
It's not so bad. Like, I think it's
You still understand what I'm saying. That's
Oh, yeah,
okay.
totally.
Cool. All right.
understandable. Do you want to go out and hear it, and I can show you so you know what it's like?
Nah, I trust you on it. Yep. Yep. Other than that, I guess get rolling soon, or
I mean, it's pretty bright.
those are very bright. Yeah. No, they're not too bad. Yeah.
I mean, they're not. I mean, it's not.
They're not hurting me at all, and I'm kind of looking at the screen anyways.
You know, I guess we just keep going and just let it go, right?
All right.
So now, we go here. Okay, there are 3 people watching. This probably includes me and Elizabeth. Okay. What about a plug for your laptop so that it doesn't, battery doesn't go dead? Is it gonna go dead?
I don't think so. I've got it on full charge.
Running the streaming encoder is going to eat some battery up here, but after your first presentation, we will look at plugging it in.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The small box, the black box. Yep.
So then you're ready to go?
Yep. Ready to go anytime. Yep.
Yeah.
The iPad is in the Vivo box too, by the way,
Okay.
which is better.
Everything's in there. Okay. to do hers? Okay.
Yeah, well,
So this is actually probably good timing.
Yeah, this will be fine. And then we can always do it.
Okay, guys. I would highly recommend plugging that in, though. Plugging both in if you can.
Oh, for power?
Yeah.
Yes. Because there's another extension cord here.
Okay.
I don't know where there's another call, but
Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised, especially with the computer.
Do you have your plug?
Unfortunately, I think I left it home accidentally.
Are you on full power?
Yeah, I just put it up to 100. Yeah. Okay, you're plugged in. Yeah. And then we'll just switch it over when. But it's on like 90 some percent, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah.
All right, so then,
11 o'clock right now.
yeah.
Okay. Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm Marsha Cripps. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm here with Plant Foundation today, and I'm doing a presentation, as you can see, on baloney detection. So there's a lot of media information in the world, and sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's true and what's just baloney? And today we're going to be using science to figure that out. So, what I have for you today, you guys are going to help be my detectives and get to the bottom of a case. So, a little bit of a backstory. There was an article that was shared on social media. It makes a very large claim, a strong claim, that there was food waste encouraged by the government, and it was shared over 70,000 times and is all over. So, we're going to find out if this is fact or fake, find out if the claim is true, and find the baloney, if there is any. So, here was the original post, and then this is the article that was shared on the left-hand side. As you can see, it looks like a bunch of cherries being dumped on the ground and a lot of waste, and if you read the captions, it says right over here, these cherries are beautiful, but we had to dump them. So, what are our tools when trying to find the baloney? Our tools are science, and in this case, the scientific method specifically. So, over it. 1, we have to observe. 2, ask a question. 3, hypothesize. 4, test the hypothesis that we come up with. 5, analyze our data. 6, draw a conclusion. And last but not least, take action. So step 1, observe. So let's look at the headline. It said, cherry dumping goes viral, grower calls for change. What was our source? Social media. Some qualitative notes. So what we can look at. Cherries were on the ground, and it was a bright color, and it was a powerful image. So some observations. So I pulled up parts of the article up here, and pretty much it blames the Cherry Industry Administration Board for forcing these farmers to dump perfectly good cherries. The author of the article wants us as a reader, and pretty much claims that the cherries rot because they're tart, so they won't be any good, and that's why they can't eat them. So step 2, we have to ask a question. Is this baloney? Step 3, form a hypothesis. I'm going to think positive and say, yes, this article is reliable. So now we must test it. So a good way to first test if an article is good or bad that you see on social media or any website for that matter is, what does the URL say? So I've got the URL up there. It looks like it comes from a place called OrpUpNorthLive.com. The second thing to do is to check the date, and that says July 27th, 2016 is when it was posted. That's a couple years ago. It's no longer news if it's a year. A good rule of thumb to follow is if it's older than 2 weeks, it's probably no longer news. And that shared and promoted as current news at all. And then number 3, check your bias. We all have personal bias. We're all guilty of them. Does the picture tug at emotions? I mean, the picture itself was a bunch of cherries dumped on the ground, and seeing food wasted like that does tug at somebody's emotions, at least for me, because I love food. So, check the sources. Does it have realistic sources? So, the first thing that we saw was the article, but if we really look at where the photo comes from, is Facebook, and that's a Facebook post. And some things to note, it comes from a Facebook page, but we don't know if it's a reliable page because Facebook actually does a good job where they let you know if it's a true public source or not with a blue check mark. And that's what that blue check mark looks like. So that's already causing me to worry a little bit about the article. And then it cites a Cherry Industry Administrative Board. Now, we don't know if that's real or not. So I typed it into Google, and it does exist. And you can, to double check to see if a board or any entity that's government-based does exist, is to make sure that it's got a .org or a .edu. In this case, it had a .org, so that means it does check out. But I smell some baloney because the original source was from social media, and it didn't have a blue check mark by it. So, do the claims match the evidence? They make a strong claim saying that this Cherry Industry Administration Board forced farmers to destroy these cherries and then help farmers that are outside of the U.S. The evidence that they used was a picture of cherries being dumped on the ground and one person's statements. And then another claim they make is that because these are tart cherries, they couldn't be donated, so they just were left to rot out in the sun. So we had to ask ourselves, are pictures and statements from one person enough to be evidence, strong, hard evidence? And what are the facts being backed by? So far, it's a picture from social media and a statement from one person. So investigate the evidence and claims further. So a good idea to do is to always ask industry experts, and then check to see if the sources are backed by an education or government source. Usually those are legit, and you can always double check by seeing if it's got a .org or a .edu. And then another place to go is finding a reliable external source, such as Snopes. And then let's investigate further. So this is another article, if you are looking for an industry expert, that is an industry expert on cherries. And he goes to talk about how that social media post botched the reality. That in reality, there was a way for that farmer to donate those cherries. They could have made them into pies and got to know processors that would help thousands of people in need. So, as he goes on, he says, dumping isn't the only option. It's just not true. Farmers can use cherries for research and development, fertilization, and also if they process these. So, the audience, us, was led to believe that these tart cherries couldn't be used at all. No, they had to be processed. They weren't like the fresh cherries that you see at Walmart that you can buy and eat. Now, I went to the cherry board that was cited to their website, and it says right here, the board does not directly regulate growers. They have influence, but they are not forcing anybody to dump or do anything against their own will. And then another, once again, to check to see if this site is legit, it's got a .org. And then finally, another way you can do your investigating online is through this third-party site, Snopes. They do a good job of testing the claim and pulling up articles from around the internet all in one handy site. I wouldn't 100% rely on Snopes, but it's always a good, quick, and fast, easy way to check on if an article is in fact true or full of baloney. So, step 5, analyze our data. So we can confirm that what did happen was a cherry farmer did destroy some cherries. There was a limit placed on cherries, and that it was because cherry market prices were volatile. What did not happen, nobody was forced to do the dumping, and nobody was forced to protect anybody outside of the US. And they were not given any options. They were given options other than to just dump them on the ground. So draw conclusions. So our original hypothesis was this article is reliable. The answer? No, it's not. But not everything was baloney. So last but not least, take action. Simply refrain when you are on social media from sharing this post if you see it. Usually a good rule of thumb, if it's older than a couple of weeks, it is no longer news or relevant. And then number 2, if you do share, educate your family and friends about it. Share your resources, expose the baloney, but affirm the facts. So in this case, yes, there was somebody that did dump the cherries out. No, nobody was forced to do anything against their will. Case solved. Please take action and use social media and resources responsibly. Thank you so much for listening. Yes, it is. It's live streaming right now. I'm gonna just ask Dino. Because then we have to create a new video and everything if we shut it off. Or
I mean, you could, but
it on pauses
yeah,
it, kind
I
of.
think it pauses it.
As long as it's
Yeah.
paused.
So you look down there what it's going, the green, right? So
No, stop.
This got changed to Plant Foundation, right? My hotspot.
plant.
Plant.
That's 2 hour 5, Charles. You want to go?
That's 2
Yeah.
minute 5.
If you didn't publish it,
I clicked publish and close the laptop.
Wait, what? It's not published? The link?
No,
no, him,
Oh, okay.
his video. He made a 4-hour video.
Oh, doing what?
I made a whole video of Undertale, the whole game.
the important Japanese word I taught you still? The one word? Domo, yes, yes.
And when
You're
I
ever
was
lost,
in the
use
video,
it.
I'm pretty sure I had too much fun doing
Domo
outfits.
arigato, Mr. Roboto.
What?
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. That's the song. By
Do you know what it means exactly?
That many things.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes. That's why it makes no sense whenever I hear it. It's just thank you very much